The glass shattered before the scream. Han Seo-jin moved through the chaos of the Black Pearl Lounge like a shadow, his hand already reaching for the Glock beneath his tailored jacket. 3 men in ski masks. Amateur hour. They burst through the front entrance, weapons raised, shouting demands that nobody bothered to hear. Lake City's underground elite didn't flinch at theatrics anymore. Seo-jin's bullet found the first gunman's shoulder before the man could pivot. The second crumpled when Jaekwon Ri materialized from the private dining area, his knife work surgical and silent. The third ran. Smart choice. "Clear the room," Seo-jin ordered, holstering his weapon. His daughter's small hand clutched his pant leg. 2-year-old Mila stood frozen, eyes wide, but tearless. She hadn't cried in 11 months, hadn't spoken in 14. The lounge staff ushered patrons toward the exits with practiced efficiency. This wasn't their first incident. Seo-jin lifted Mila into his arms, feeling the familiar weight of her silence press against his chest. She buried her face in his shoulder, and he carried her toward his private booth in the back corner, where bulletproof glass separated power from chaos. That's when he saw the waitress. Elena Cruz moved against the tide of fleeing bodies, her tray still balanced despite the pandemonium. She wasn't running. She was working, collecting abandoned glasses and plates with methodical precision, as if violence was just another mess to clean up. Something about her stillness caught his attention. In a world of predators and prey, she seemed to be neither. "You should leave," Seo-jin said as she approached his booth. Elena looked up, meeting his eyes without the usual fear or calculation. "You ordered the Macallan. I haven't brought it yet." The building was just shot up. "I noticed." She set down a crystal glass and poured 2 fingers of scotch with steady hands. "Still thirsty?" Jaekwon appeared behind her, his presence a threat. "Boss, I'll escort her out." Seo-jin raised one hand. Wait. There was something about this woman. The way she didn't perform, didn't flirt or cower or angle for advantage. She just existed in her own gravity. Mila's head lifted from his shoulder, her dark eyes fixed on Elena's face with an intensity that made Seo-jin's pulse quicken. His daughter hadn't looked at anyone like that since her mother died, since the fire that turned Seo-jin's world to ash and his heart to stone. Elena finished pouring and started to turn away. Then Mila spoke. "Mama." The word fell like a gunshot in the sudden silence. Seo-jin's blood turned to ice. Jaekwon's hand moved to his weapon. Every security guard in the room tensed, waiting for their leader's signal. Elena dropped the scotch bottle. It hit the marble floor and exploded, amber liquid spreading like blood between them. What did she say? Elena's voice shook. Her composure cracked, revealing something raw underneath. Seo-jin couldn't breathe. Mila hadn't spoken since the fire, since her mother's death. Not one word in 14 months. And now this impossible, devastating word to a stranger. "Mama," Mila repeated, louder now, reaching for Elena with both small hands. Elena stumbled backward, hitting a table. Her face had gone white. I can't." "Take her," Seo-jin commanded Jaekwon. His voice came out rough, dangerous. "Take the woman to the estate. No harm, not yet. But she doesn't leave Lake City. Boss, you can't seriously think—" "Now!" Jaekwon moved fast, gripping Elena's arm. She didn't resist, but her eyes never left Mila's reaching hands. Tears streaked down the waitress's face as security guards flanked her, escorting her toward the back exit. "Wait." Seo-jin stood, Mila still in his arms. His daughter was crying now, real tears, the first he'd seen in almost a year. She writhed in his grip, arms extended toward the disappearing waitress. "Mama! Mama!" The sound broke something in Seo-jin's chest. Mila's voice, rusty from disuse, kept calling for a woman she'd never met. Or had she? He followed them into the night, snow falling over Lake City's steel towers. His mind raced through possibilities, each more disturbing than the last, Enemy plant. Psychological manipulation. Some kind of syndicate play he hadn't anticipated. But Mila's reaction wasn't trained. It was primal. Recognition. At the Han estate, Elena sat in Seo Jin's study, flanked by guards. She'd stopped crying, but her hands trembled around the tea someone had given her. Seo Jin entered alone, having left Mila with her nanny. His daughter's screams still echoed through the mansion's halls. "Start talking," he said, pouring himself a drink. "Who sent you?" "Nobody sent me." Elena's voice steadied. "I'm a waitress. I work doubles to pay rent. That's it." "My daughter called you Mama. I heard. She hasn't spoken in over a year." Elena flinched. "I'm sorry. I don't know why she did that." Seo Jin studied her face, looking for tells. He'd interrogated countless people, extracted truth from the most skilled liars. But Elena Cruz just looked lost and terrified, and genuinely confused. "You've never seen her before?" "Never." "Never been to this estate? Never worked for anyone connected to my family?" "Mr. Han, I don't even know who you are. I mean, I know you own the lounge. I know you're important. But I just serve food and go home. Then why did my daughter recognize you?" Elena's composure shattered. She pressed her hands to her face, shoulders shaking. "I don't know. God, I don't know. But when she said that word, when she looked at me like that..." She dropped her hands, meeting his eyes. I felt it too. I felt like I knew her. The admission hung between them, dangerous and impossible. Seo Jin's phone buzzed. Jaquan's message was brief. "Found something. Her apartment. Come now." "Don't move," Seo Jin told Elena. He gestured to the guards. "Watch her. If she runs, break her legs." He drove across, Lake City, with 2 security vehicles trailing. Jaquan waited outside a building that looked like it might collapse in the next strong wind. Elena Cruz lived in the kind of place people went to disappear. Inside her tiny apartment, Jaquan had documents spread across a card table, bank statements, medical records, and something else. "She had a baby," Jaquan said, 3 years ago. Surrogacy contract. Legal, above board, through Dr. Marcus Ellery's clinic. Seo Jin's blood went cold. Ellery, the same doctor who'd handled his wife's fertility treatments. The same clinic where they'd arranged for a gestational carrier when his wife couldn't carry to term. What happened to the baby? His voice barely worked. Jaquan pulled out a death certificate. Stillborn. According to these records, the baby died during delivery. The surrogate was paid half the agreed amount and released from the contract. Seo Jin grabbed the papers, scanning dates. 3 years ago. The timing matched. His daughter had been born 3 years ago through a surrogate his wife had selected. A surrogate whose name had been redacted from all their documents for privacy. "Get me Ellery," Seo Jin said. "Now. And run a DNA test. I want confirmation by morning." "Boss, if this is what it looks like, then someone lied to us about a stillbirth. Someone told us our daughter was born to a different woman. Someone staged an elaborate cover-up." Seo Jin's hands crushed the papers. "And my wife died in that fire before she could tell me the truth." Back at the estate, he found Elena where he'd left her. She looked up when he entered, resignation in her eyes. "I need a sample of your DNA," he said. Elena went very still. "Why?" "Because my daughter was born to a surrogate 3 years ago, and you were pregnant 3 years ago, and your baby was declared stillborn by the same doctor who facilitated our arrangement." The color drained from Elena's face. No, that's not possible. My baby died. They showed me paperwork. They said there were complications. Did you hold the body? What? Did you see your child? Hold her? Attend a funeral?" Elena's silence was answer enough. "They gave you half the money and sent you away," Seo Jin continued. "Told you the baby died during delivery. Showed you documents you were too traumatized to question. And you've been living in poverty ever since, never touching that blood money, trying to pretend it didn't happen." Tears ran down Elena's cheeks. You're saying my baby lived? That your daughter is... I'm saying someone went to great lengths to hide the truth, and I'm going to find out why. The DNA results came back at dawn. Seo Jin stood in his office, the paper trembling in his hands. Jaquan watched from the doorway, expression unreadable. Maternity probability, 99.9%. Elena Cruz was Mila's biological mother, which meant everything Seo Jin thought he knew about his daughter's birth was a lie. His wife had never told him the surrogate's identity, had never let him meet her, citing privacy concerns. And then she died in that fire before Mila turned one, taking her secrets to the grave. Or had she? Seo Jin pulled up the fire investigation reports he'd reviewed 1,000 times. His wife had been alone in their penthouse. An electrical fire, they'd said. Tragic accident. Mila had been with the nanny, safe at the estate. His wife had burned alive while he was across the city at a business meeting. Now he looked at the timeline with fresh eyes. His wife discovers the surrogate is alive, not dead as promised. She panics. She contacts someone. She makes plans to reveal the truth. And she dies before she can tell him. It wasn't an accident, Seo Jin said aloud. The fire was murder. Jaquan stepped into the office. Boss, we need to talk about what this means. It means my daughter's real mother has been alive this entire time. It means someone faked her death to keep them separated. It means Elena Cruz is a loose end. Jaquan's tone made his position clear. She's a witness to illegal surrogacy fraud. She could expose the entire operation, go to authorities, ruin everything. Or she's a victim. Victims become liabilities. You know this. Jaquan moved closer. Your wife's death, assuming it was murder, happened because someone wanted to protect this secret. Elena's existence threatens that same secret. She's dangerous by nature of what she knows. Seo Jin looked at the DNA results again. Mila's face flashed through his mind, her smile when Elena had approached, the first words she'd spoken in over a year. Mama. Bring Dr. Ellery to the safe house, Seo Jin said. Tell him it's about a patient emergency. Make sure he comes alone. 2 hours later, Seo Jin watched through one-way glass as Jaquan escorted Dr. Marcus Ellery into an interrogation room. The fertility specialist looked nervous, but not panicked. Not yet. Seo Jin entered the room. Ellery stood immediately. Mr. Han, I came as soon as I got the message. Is everything all right with... Sit down. Ellery sat. Seo Jin placed a folder on the table between them. 3 years ago, you facilitated a surrogacy arrangement for my wife. A healthy baby girl was delivered. But according to these documents, Seo Jin opened the folder. The surrogate gave birth to a stillborn child. The same night. The same hospital. What an extraordinary coincidence. Ellery's face went gray. Mr. Han, I assure you, everything was handled according to... You're lying! Seo Jin's voice stayed calm, deadly calm. Elena Cruz gave birth to a living child, my daughter, and you told her the baby died. Then you arranged for different paperwork, showing my wife as the birth mother. Why? I don't know what you're talking about. Seo Jin pulled out his phone and played security footage. Ellery's clinic. 3 years ago. A woman entering his private office. The timestamp matched the night of Mila's birth. That's Jaquan Rhee, Seo Jin said. My lieutenant. Visiting you hours after the delivery. Having a very private conversation. About what exactly? Ellery's hands shook on the table. He said there were concerns about the surrogate, about her background. He said the family wanted to distance themselves from her completely. Make it clean. Legal? He offered me money to handle it quietly. And the stillbirth certificate? It was real. Another baby. Same night. Actual stillbirth. I switched the records. Made it look like the Cruz woman's baby died. Then I processed new birth documents showing your wife as the mother. It's not unusual in surrogacy cases. The paperwork can be flexible. Seo Jin's rage was ice cold and absolute. My wife knew about this. No, God, no. She thought everything went normally. She thought the surrogate had delivered and gone home with payment. Happy ending. She never knew about the cover-up. Then why was she calling you 3 months before she died? 16 phone calls in 2 weeks, according to phone records. Ellery broke. She found out. I don't know how, but she discovered the surrogate was supposed to be dead. She threatened to expose everything. She said she'd go to the authorities, burn down my practice, ruin me. She wanted Elena Cruz's location, wanted to make things right. And you told Jaquan. He said he'd handle it. He said he'd make your wife see reason. Instead, she died in a fire. Ellery's silence confirmed everything. Seo Jin stood. He walked to the door, then paused. Thank you for your honesty, Doctor. It's more than you showed 3 years ago. Wait, what happens now? Are you going to… Seo Jin pulled out his gun and shot Dr. Ellery twice in the chest. The man slumped forward, blood pooling on the steel table. No rage, no ceremony, just elimination of a problem. He holstered his weapon and left the room. Jaquan waited in the hallway. We need to talk, Seo Jin said. I heard the shots. You killed my wife. Jaquan didn't deny it. I protected the family. She was my family. She was going to destroy everything we built, expose the operation, bring Elena Cruz into our world, create chaos. A surrogate mother with legal claims to your heir. It was a disaster waiting to happen. Seo Jin moved fast, slamming Jaquan against the wall, forearm across his throat. You murdered the mother of my child. I saved the mother of your child, Jaquan choked out. Your real heir, pure bloodline, no legal complications. I gave Mila a clean legacy. By killing her stepmother and orphaning her? By protecting what matters. Power. Legacy. The family name without stains or complications. Jaquan's eyes were wild now, fanatical. Elena Cruz is trailer trash. A nobody. You think she deserves to be part of this world? To raise your daughter? She'd destroy everything. Seo Jin released him. Get out. You have 24 hours to leave Lake City. If I see you after that, I'll kill you. You need me. I needed you to be. Loyal. You chose bloodlines over trust. We're done. Jaquan straightened his jacket. She'll destroy you. Elena Cruz isn't strong enough for this life. And when the other families find out the truth, they'll use it against you. You're making a mistake. Get out. When Seo Jin returned to the estate, he found Elena sitting with Mila in the garden. His daughter was showing her flowers, chattering in broken sentences, words tumbling out after months of silence. Elena listened, like every syllable mattered. Papa! Mila ran to him when he appeared. Elena says flowers sleep at night. Do they dream? Seo Jin picked her up, throat tight. I don't know, sweetheart. Elena stood, uncertainty in her eyes. Your guard told me the DNA results came back. He said I should pack my things and go. Said you'd arrange payment for my silence. Is that what you want? Money and silence. I want to understand what happened. Why someone told me my baby died. Why I've spent 3 years thinking I killed her. Her voice broke. Why my daughter doesn't know me. Seo Jin made a decision that would change everything. Then stay. Get to know her. Let her know you. Just like that? No, not just like that. He set Mila down, watching her chase butterflies through the garden. I need to keep you close for practical reasons. You're a liability, a witness, a loose end. Half the syndicate would prefer you dead. The other half would use you as leverage against me. Elena paled. Then why? Because my daughter called you Mama. Because she's been silent for over a year, and you made her speak again. Because someone already killed to keep this secret, and I won't let them finish the job. What are you proposing? Marriage. Legal. Binding. legitimate in the eyes of the law and the families. You become my wife, Mila's legal mother, untouchable by association. Elena laughed, a sharp, broken sound. You want to marry your dead wife's surrogate, the woman you met yesterday. I want to protect my daughter, and you're part of that equation now. This is insane. This is survival. Seo Jin stepped closer. You have two choices. Disappear with a payoff and spend the rest of your life looking over your shoulder, never knowing if today's the day someone decides you're too dangerous to live. Or you stay. Become part of this family. Gain its protection and all its complications. What about what I want? What about processing the fact that I have a daughter who thinks someone else was her mother? Process it here, safely, under my protection. He paused. I'm not offering love, Elena. I'm offering survival wrapped in legitimacy. The rest, we figure out as we go. Elena looked at Mila, who was picking flowers in the afternoon sun. Their daughter. The child she'd grown inside her body and been told was dead. What if I say no? Then I'll give you money and connections to disappear. But understand that every enemy I have will eventually find you. And they'll use you to hurt me. And Mila, your safety has an expiration date the moment you leave my protection. It wasn't a threat. It was reality in Lake City's underworld. Elena closed her eyes. If I agree, I want rules, boundaries. I want to know what happened to your wife. I want to understand the world I'm entering. Fair. And Mila comes first, always. Whatever this arrangement is, she's not a bargaining chip. Agreed. Then, Elena opened her eyes. Yes, I'll stay. I'll marry you. God help us both. 3 weeks later, Elena stood in her new closet, looking at designer dresses she'd never have afforded in 10 lifetimes. The Han estate had become her gilded cage, beautiful, suffocating, safe. Mila had become her shadow, following her through rooms, chattering constantly now that the dam had broken. She called Elena by name, not yet brave enough for Mama again. But the recognition was there in every touch, every smile, every moment of unconscious trust. Seo Jin remained distant, polite. They shared meals and parenting duties, but nothing else. Separate bedrooms, separate lives, a business arrangement in expensive clothing. Until the nightmares started. Elena woke to Mila's screams echoing through the mansion. She ran barefoot to her daughter's room, finding Seo Jin already there, holding the thrashing toddler, murmuring in Korean. Mila's face was red, tears streaming, words incomprehensible. Fire, Seo Jin translated quietly. She's dreaming about the fire. Elena climbed into the bed, reaching for Mila. The child turned to her immediately, burying her face against Elena's chest, little body shaking with sobs. I've got you, Elena whispered. I've got you, baby. You're safe. Seo Jin watched them with something unreadable in his expression. Pain, longing, fear. She has these dreams 3 times a week, he said finally. Since her mother died, since the fire. Tell me what happened. The real story. So he did. The whole truth. His wife's discovery of the surrogacy fraud. Her threats to expose it. Jaquan's betrayal. The staged electrical fire. The cover-up that stole 14 months of Elena's motherhood. When he finished, Elena was crying silently, still holding their sleeping daughter. He killed her to protect a secret, she said. To keep me away from Mila. To protect his vision of legacy. Pure bloodlines. No complications. Seo Jin's voice was hollow. I banished him. But he's still out there. Still a threat. Will he come back? Eventually. Men like Jaquan don't accept exile well. Elena looked at him across Mila's sleeping form. Then we need to be ready. The Orion Gala was Lake City's social event of the season. Politicians, criminals, and old money gathered under crystal chandeliers to pretend civilization could contain their violence. Seo Jin had planned to skip it this year, but appearances mattered. and introducing his new wife to the power structure couldn't be delayed. Elena wore emerald silk that cost more than her yearly rent used to. Diamond Seo Jin had given her sparkled at her throat. She looked like she belonged in this world, but her eyes told a different story. Prey among predators. "Stay close," Seo Jin murmured as they entered the ballroom. "Smile. Say nothing important. Let them wonder." The whispers started immediately. The Crimson Orchid's mysterious new wife. Where did she come from? Who was she, really? The speculation was already spinning into legend. Jaekwon appeared near the champagne fountain, dressed in formal black, looking like he'd never been banished at all. Seo Jin's hand moved instinctively to where his weapon would be. But Gallus had metal detectors. They were both unarmed in a room full of enemies. "You came back," Seo Jin said when Jaekwon approached. "I never left." Jaekwon's eyes fixed on Elena. "Mrs. Han, how lovely you look. Tell me, do you know what your husband does for a living? The blood on the money that bought those diamonds?" "I know enough," Elena said quietly. "Do you know he's weakening? That every rival family sees his sudden marriage as vulnerability? That protecting you makes him a target?" "Jaekwon," Seo Jin's voice was steel, "walk away. I tried to protect you from this mistake, but you chose sentiment over strategy." He smiled at Elena. "Enjoy the party, Mrs. Han. It may be your last." He disappeared into the crowd. Elena's hand found Seo Jin's. "He's going to do something tonight." "I know." "Then why are we still here?" "Because running shows weakness, and weakness gets you killed in this world." The fire alarm started screaming at midnight. Smoke poured from the ceiling vents, not electrical, not accidental. Calculated chaos. The crowd panicked, pushing toward exits. Seo Jin pulled Elena close, scanning for threats. "Where's Mila?" Elena shouted over the alarms. "Safe at the estate with security." His phone buzzed. A video message. Jaekwon's face filled the screen, Mila crying in the background. "Looking for something?" Jaekwon's voice came through. "The estate's security is good, but loyalty can be bought. Come to the roof, alone, or I drop her." The phone went dead. Seo Jin ran for the stairs, Elena right behind him. "I told you to stay close, not follow me into suicide. That's our daughter, which is why you should stay safe. And let you face this alone? We're in this together, remember?" They burst onto the rooftop. Wind and smoke whipped around them. Jaekwon stood near the edge, holding Mila. The toddler screamed, reaching for Elena. "Mama! Mama!" "Let her go," Seo Jin said, hands raised. "This is between us." "No, this is about legacy, about weakness." Jaekwon held Mila out over the edge. 5 stories of empty air below them. "You chose sentiment over strength, a nobody waitress over family honor. You let Elena Cruz contaminate the bloodline. Put down my daughter. She's not just your daughter. She's the heir, the future, and she's being raised by trash." His eyes locked on Elena. "You should have stayed dead. Should have stayed in your pathetic little apartment. But you had to survive, had to come back, had to ruin everything." Elena stepped forward. "I didn't ruin anything. I gave birth to a beautiful girl. I grieved her for 3 years. And now I'm her mother, whether you like it or not." "You're nothing." Jaekwon's grip on Mila loosened. "You're a womb that got paid. That's all." Mila slipped. Elena lunged, covering the distance faster than thought, grabbing her daughter as Jaekwon lost his grip. They tumbled together toward the roof edge, momentum carrying them toward death. Seo Jin's hand caught Elena's wrist. The 3 of them dangled for a heartbeat, connected by nothing but his grip and desperation. Then he hauled them back, muscles screaming, refusing to let go. They collapsed onto the roof. Mila sobbed against Elena's chest. Seo Jin pulled them both against him, hands shaking with reaction. Jaekwon stood frozen, watching the family he'd tried to destroy. "You're weak now. All of you. This won't end well." "You're right," Seo Jin said. He stood. pulled the backup gun from Elena's purse, the one she didn't know he'd hidden there, and shot Jaquan 3 times center mass. His former lieutenant fell without ceremony. Later, much later, after statements to friendly police and cleanup crews had removed the body, they returned to the estate. Mila had finally fallen asleep in Elena's arms during the car ride. Seo Jin carried them both inside. Elena stirred as he laid her on the couch. Mila still clutched against her chest. "Is it over?" she whispered. "The immediate threat, yes. But this world..." He sat beside them, exhausted. "It's never really over." "Then why do you stay in it?" "Because leaving is deadlier than staying. The Crimson Orchid can't just retire. That's not how this works." Elena adjusted Mila against her shoulder. "Then we make it work, together, as a family. We're not a real family, Elena. This marriage is a contract, protection, nothing more. Isn't it, though?" She met his eyes. "You took a bullet for us tonight. Well, a bullet that didn't get fired, but the intent was there. You chose us over your organization, over everything you built. I chose my daughter. You chose us." Elena's voice was gentle but firm. "Mila and me. Both of us." Seo Jin looked at them. This woman who'd been a stranger weeks ago. This child who'd called her Mama and shattered his carefully constructed world. This accidental family born from lies and death and protection. Mila stirred in her sleep. Her little hand reached out, finding Seo Jin's finger, holding tight. "Papa," she mumbled, then clearer. "Mama." The words broke something in Seo Jin's chest. The iron control he'd maintained for 14 months cracked. Tears ran down his face, silent and unstoppable. Elena took his hand. Not a business arrangement, not a contract, just connection. "We'll figure it out," she said. "One day at a time, one crisis at a time, together." "I don't know how to do this," Seo Jin admitted. "The family thing, the feelings thing. I'm good at violence and strategy, not this." "Then we'll learn together." Elena shifted Mila between them. "I don't know how to be part of your world either, but I know how to love this little girl. And maybe that's enough to start with." Snow fell outside the windows. Lake City glittered in the dark, cold and beautiful and dangerous. Inside the Han estate, a criminal, a waitress, and a child who'd brought them together created something fragile and new. Not a perfect family, not a traditional one, but real in ways Seo Jin hadn't experienced since before the fire, since before loss had carved him hollow. "Thank you," he said finally, "for tonight, for being brave enough to jump after her. She's my daughter. I'd jump off any building for her. And me?" Elena smiled, tired and genuine. "Let's take it one crisis at a time, remember? But ask me again after we survive the next assassination attempt." "Deal." Mila woke briefly, looking between her parents with sleepy eyes. "Love you," she mumbled, the words unpracticed but clear. "Love you too, baby," Elena whispered. Seo Jin couldn't say it yet. The words stuck in his throat, unused for too long, but he held them both closer, and maybe that was enough for now. The Crimson Orchid had built an empire on fear and violence, but sitting in the quiet aftermath of chaos, holding his accidental family, he wondered if maybe power looked different than he'd always thought. Maybe strength wasn't about standing alone. Maybe it was about having people worth fighting for, worth bleeding for, worth changing for. Outside, Lake City's underworld continued its eternal dance of power and death. Inside, 3 people who shouldn't have been a family learned to breathe in sync. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't safe, but it was theirs. And for the first time in 14 months, Han Seo Jin felt something other than cold rage and grief. He felt hope, dangerous, terrifying, impossible hope. The future stretched uncertain before them. More threats would come, more violence, more challenges to their fragile peace. But they would face it together. the Crimson Orchid and his accidental family. It wasn't the ending he'd expected, but maybe it was the one he needed. If you enjoyed this story of dangerous love and found family, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more captivating tales. Drop a comment below and tell us what you thought of Elena and Seo Jin's journey. And hit that like button to support more stories like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.